Okay, for today in segment 1, we are continuing on with Palladium Fantasy role-playing game, where today we are just going to talk about combat mechanics. And if you know how we do this, you might be saying, well, how are you going to fit a combat mechanics in 3 hours, 4 hours? Well, this is how. We're going to give you examples. This is really only a couple of pages in the book. And we're going to kind of talk through some things. We're not going to read every word, but we are probably going to read quite a bit of it and talk about the examples of how you utilize it in the game. And I'm going to talk about some of the things that I really don't like. And I don't know if it's in first edition or not, because I don't have the first edition book, but I don't like about second edition combat for Palladium. But they're very minutia. They're very specific to certain things that you can easily avoid, overlook, or just not care that I don't like them, So, but just as a reminder to people, RPG Digest is a live stream podcast discussion, not a concise step-by-step tutorial. In fact, this is a read-through, and we may deviate off topic and go on tangents. Enjoy. And for those of you who are watching today on this 6th of February 2020, in the year of our Lord 2022, we are going to have the first week's, the first part of the first week's giveaway at the end of this segment. I haven't decided if that's going to be up for YouTube total or not. It might be. We'll see. I don't see why not. So, share. Oh, nope.
No, what? No, what?
I caught myself beforehand.
Oh, screwing up the screens? Yep.
Gotta flip-flop them. Gotta be like a good politician and flip-flop. Subscribe for flip-flopping politicians.
Yep.
And browse and Palladium. I don't need audio. It's just a book. There we go. F11 this bad boy. And there you go. Full screens itself. Awesome.
Embiggen it.
So we show the cover. I'm going to embiggen it, but I like to show the cover to start. Okay. Right. And then we'll go to page 44, combat rules. And now the embiggening happens. It's magic.
Oh, there it is.
Because it's Palladium Fantasy.
Yep.
All right. You want to start? You want me to start? How do you want to do this? I mean, because look at this. These rules dive right in. How do you want to do this?
They do. Really do. I'll kick it off.
All right.
The Palladium combat system is relatively simple. Relatively simple.
Relatively compared to what?
I disagree. Well, no, I have to disagree, because when someone says relatively something, it's usually relative to the average, which I can't say this is relatively simple.
In all actuality, though, it is simple. But when we get through this, you can be like, how do you call that simple? Because it really is simple. And we'll talk about that at the end of this discussion. Mm-hmm. The book makes it seem a lot harder than it is.
Yeah. It has been thoroughly play tested and has appeared in a dozen different RPGs with great success. Now, the only reason you say this is when people think it's bad. And you're trying to convince them that, no, really, seriously, this is easy, I swear. If something's easy, you don't have to convince people of it. So, yeah, I disagree. Designed to be fast-moving and easy to understand. All right, well, I'm just going to go ahead, the rest of it. There you go. Step 1, determine initiative. This is relatively easy. Anytime opponents square off for battle, the game master must determine who has initiative. Not a surprise. In other words, who will attack first. Successful sneak attacks and long-range attacks will always have initiative for that round. Otherwise, whoever rolls highest on a 20-sided die will attack first. In the case of a tie, re-roll. Initiative is rolled only once per melee round. That roll will determine the pace for the entire melee. Now,
time out a second here.
Not like this.
Why don't I like this?
Does not like a single initiative being used throughout an entirety of a situation.
No, I like this. It's once per round. Initiative rolled once per round. You have multiple actions in a round. I'm okay with that.
Okay, yeah. All right. For me, that's too much. That's too much, especially because once we get into actual combat rules and modifiers and such, there's a lot of stuff Palladium has to change initiative order through combat actions.
This long-range attacks is what gets me.
Dirt in your eye, whatever.
Yeah, but body flip throw only lasts for that round. You don't lose initiative for the rest of your life because you got thrown once.
No, you lose initiative for the next round and you lose 2 actions or something like that. And then you rub the dirt off you rub dirt off, get back in the game. I get it. All right.
This long-range attacks. I got a question for you about this.
Yeah.
So Is that every bow? So if I use a bow, I automatically go first? Or
No.
is there designation for long range attacks?
Well,
I
there
get
should
this
be
one.
there should be a difference, because a long range attack that always wins initiative is a long range attack that someone didn't see coming. That's defined as surprise.
Sneak attack, yeah.
Yeah. So it would be beyond initiative. You know, it would,
Oh.
would be beyond the role of initiative.
I
But
did not read this
if you
closely enough
saw
to
the
see.
archer on the ridge and you see his little tiny form pull back his bow like a killer Cupid, that is not surprise. Even though it is a long range attack, it does not, it does not supersede initiative, because I
See, I
can take
disagree. I
cover.
disagree with this. I don't understand.
I know
No,
you do.
initiative every freaking round. Combat is chaos. Just because you go first now doesn't mean you go first next time. Like, it is chaos. Initiative should be rolled every round. I don't like a D20 personally, but it is what it is with this game. Combat initiative should be every freaking round. The only caveat I make to that is I wish that there was a good initiative system out there that allowed for momentum. So if you hit, your opponent misses, and you've got him on the backs of his feet, I think you should have a bonus to your initiative. But yeah, every round.
All right, step 2, attacker rolls strike. Next step is for the first attacker to roll a 20-sided die. If the result is a 4 or less, counting bonuses, and now it doesn't say counting, it should say counting modifiers, because you can have a minus net depending on the situation. The attacker misses. Any roll above a 4 will hit the opponent unless the defender can parry or dodge the attack. Now, this means if the defender is unaware the attack is coming, aka surprise or sneak, he can't dodge or parry because he didn't know it was coming. So any roll of 4 or higher will hit. Fine.
Which, as long as you have, well, first of all, that's already 75% chance to hit.
Yeah.
And then you start adding on any little modifier. This is one of those weird things about Palladium that I don't fully agree with. I understand why. It's cinematic combat, and it makes you use those parries and dodges. I get all that. I still think that a 75% chance to hit is yeah, I think that's too easy, but that's just my opinion.
It's actually easier than that, because getting a +4 bonus is not hard.
Oh no, not at all.
So
just have a weapon proficiency.
You can just win. Now, notice we haven't gotten into 1 is a critical failure. 1 is always missed. Notice nobody has said that yet.
No, that comes over here.
Yeah, that's critical strikes. But what about critical failures? Ooh.
I don't think this game has it.
I don't think so either, but we're going to find out. All right, the body armor. Body armor may absorb the damage from a successful strike. To hit the physical body of one's foe, the strike roll must be higher than the armor rating of the protective armor. Now, it doesn't say it here, but just like regular to strike, that is with modifiers attached. All right, modifiers are always counting here. So, for example, studded leather armor has an AR of 13. That means you have to break that. You have to get higher than that to roll a 14 with modifiers to penetrate the armor. If you don't penetrate the armor, then the armor takes the damage.
Yep. It's either or.
5 or 13 would strike unless parried, but would only inflict damage to the body armor. When all the SDC, the body armor, is destroyed, reduced to 0, the armor is so tattered that it no longer affords any protection. It doesn't fall off. It doesn't disappear.
It's just worthless.
It doesn't de-res or anything. It just, it's now
rattling around. It's got holes in it. It's flopping in the wind.
It's so garbage. It doesn't do protection anymore. You can.
You have a question.
Oh, what is that?
We already answered it, but he may have came in late. So Billy Rubin says, "Is that a natural 1 to 4?"
No, that is with modifiers. And in Palladium, it is really easy to get a +4. Real easy to get a +4 on your attack, which means that you will never miss. The only way to miss is to have situational modifiers, which takes down your bonus, turns it into a negative, or eliminates it completely, or takes it low enough to where you could roll a 1, 2, 3, or 4, even with modifiers, or 1, 2, and 3, even with modifiers, and still not hit.
And chat does not believe in spoilers.
No, it doesn't.
Chat always gives away the answers. Nobody's going to watch the video now. Thanks, Indigo Dragon.
But let's say you did hit, but your opponent was not surprised. They knew you were going to strike. Maybe you screamed, get your blood pumping, telegraphed your blow. I don't know what you did, but they knew you were coming. And the defender gets to now dodge or parry. This is how this works. Anytime an attacker rolls a successful hit, the defender can choose to parry, dodge, or entangle. Entangle is, grabbing the arm, getting an arm lock in there, whatever. Later on in later supplements, they get into more complex rules for that, but here it's just an entangle. Parrying can be done automatically by anyone trained in any form of hand-to-hand combat. That's right. Auto parry is a thing. In hand-to-hand combat, auto parry is a thing. A parry blocks the attacker's strike, preventing damage from being inflicted. For example, a punch can be blocked by the character's hands or arms. A weapon attack can be parried or blocked by a shield, sword, or other weapon or object held in the defender's hand. A weapon should only be parried with another object. Trying to parry a weapon with one's hand or arm is likely to result in a failed parry and the usual amount of damage being inflicted, but now it's going to be on your arm.
Let's just pause there for a second, because this is something I've seen happen so many times in Palladium. Like, it just says parry. It doesn't say what I have to parry with. Oh my God. Really? Okay. You parry with your arm. Now take the weapon damage.
Yeah. You take the weapon damage to your arm. Good job. Omanal, I'm not gonna answer that. We're not talking Robotech. You're gonna try and derail me. It's a trap.
But he is right. Yes.
It's a trap. Okay, a parry can be performed without wasting a melee action. Oh, I wouldn't call it wasting if you succeed. It's using. Characters with no hand-to-hand combat training will lose their next melee attack every time they parry. So if you have not been formally trained, you don't get an auto parry. You can still parry, but it's not automatic. You have to use an action.
This is a perfect example of a badly written or is it one sentence? Yeah, it is one sentence. No, it's two sentences.
No, it's two sentences.
In the fact that it should have put this in the game mechanics form. If you don't have a hand-to-hand skill, it does not cost an action. That's what this should have said. If you have the hand-to-hand skill, it does not cost you an action. Yes, you can infer it very easily, but this kind of goes back to that old school writing, or why sometimes people can't find rules, because this isn't written directly like a rule. It's one of the things that I'm finding out by reading through this.
Energy attacks such as magic fireballs, dragon's breath, eye beams, and so on. I'm sure and so on actually means arrows as well. Cannot be parried, but can be dodged. Defending by dodging or entangling means automatically giving up your next melee attack. Or in this case, it should say action.
It's part of his rules of writing for a Palladium game. It's always attack. He has it written into his little style guide for writing for Palladium books.
Well, then he decided to be always wrong. That's fine.
Fair. I did. By the way, I did change it to. I changed it to action in my version.
Good job. Entangle means a character actually pins or snares an opponent's weapons or arm. A dodge means a character physically moves out of the path of the attack. That's a pretty good definition of a dodge. Each dodge uses up one of the character's attacks per melee round. So constantly dodging means the defender has no opportunity to attack. Note, the defender can only defend against attacks within his line of vision. Attacks from the rear cannot be parried, dodged, or entangled. The defender always wins ties when parrying, entangling, or dodging. That is an important thing. This is the first instance to where you don't have to beat a target number. You only have to equal it. Like for attacking, you have to beat 4. You have to get a 5 or higher. To defeat armor, you have to beat that armor rating. In the last instance, it was 14 was the AR. You have to roll a 15 with modifiers. But if you are the defender and you are parrying or dodging or entangling, all you have to do is equal the attack roll. They roll a 15, you roll a 15, defender wins.
I'm gonna ask, but do you take damage if you entangle? No. You stop the attack.
You have stopped the attack. It did not happen.
I use it like it's real easy to picture. If you think of a punch, somebody goes to punch in and you grab the arm. And now that arm is entangled.
Yep. Step 4, attacker rolls damage. If a successful strike is not parried, dodged, or tangled, the attacker hits his
tangled,
target
not entangled.
No, tangled. Rolls for the amount of damage inflicted. Each weapon description will indicate the type and number of dice to roll to determine damage. For example, a knife does 1d6. A claymore does 3d6. A war club does 2d4. In addition to the weapon damage, the attacker may also get damage bonus from hand-to-hand combat skills, strength, quality craftsmanship of weapon, or magical enhancement. All bonuses are cumulative. So if the character has a PS of 20, adds 5 damage. Also using a weapon as +2 damage, that's added too. As well as a +2 from hand-to-hand combat skill, guess what? More damage. Total amount is 2d6 plus 9 times 2 if a critical strike. Critical strikes do double damage. Combined critical strikes like a natural 20 and jump attack do triple damage. Add the damage bonus to the roll before doubling or tripling damage. That means all of the bonuses are added and then you double. You don't double the roll, you double the total.
Yep.
A lot of people get that wrong too. And
the whole it's a big D&D thing.
Yeah, the whole critical strike ascending modifier thing where if you roll a 20 and you did a jump attack, either one of those counts as a critical strike if hit. And so that would give you double damage. You don't double a double. That would be ×4. No, you just add 1 to the multiplier. So instead of ×2, it's ×3.
Now, I don't know if Palladium Fantasy has this
from now on.
Well, I know I didn't look at the hand-to-hand proficiencies here, but like in Rifts, at a certain level with a certain hand-to-hand skill, that critical strike turns to ×3, which means if you now have ×3 and a jump kick,
×4.
×4, yep.
If you also roll a d20, yes. You add 1 to the multiplier every time a critical is accounted for. That's the rule. A pulled punch or strike, whether a fist or a weapon, inflicts as little damage as the attacker desires, down to 1 point, provided he was successful. A roll an 11 or better on a d20. Pulling your punch, a successful strike goes from 5 to 11 because it takes a little more skill to use to hit somebody with precision.
I disagree with this rule. I hate this rule. I've always hated this rule.
Okay, all right. It's harder to hit someone correctly while pulling your punch because you're not trained to do that. If you're trained in hand-to-hand combat, you're trained to beat someone's face, not like love tap them. You know,
when you spar, a lot of times you don't do full damage,
but you don't miss. You don't miss. As long as you rolled that 5, you still hit. But if you roll a 5 to 10, you do full damage.
Yeah, I don't like it. I think that should be on a fumble personally, but this is the rule of the game, and Heathen Dog has the correct reading of it.
Yep. Defender may attempt to roll with impact punch. If the attack is a physical impact attack from things like a punch, kick, club, mace, hammer, staff, thrown rock, fall, explosion, and the defender can attempt to roll the impact punch fall.
Stop here for a second. Impact punch. This is one of the inconsistencies about the book that people complain about. Roll with impact punch. Now let's roll with impact punch fall. And you're going to see this, maybe not in this book, but I know in the books I've been going through, you're going to see all this. Roll with impact, roll with punch, roll with fall, roll with punch impact, roll with impact fall. And you're like, it's all the same rule. Again, it's just some of the crazy
things. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. In order to roll with the impact, the defender must roll a 20-sided die and match or better. Remember, defender wins ties in combat. Match or better the attacker's roll to strike. Successfully rolling with a punch, impact, or fall means the character takes half damage. Successfully rolling with a knockout punch means that your character takes double damage, but is not knocked unconscious or stunned. Rolling with a death punch results in a loss of half of all remaining SDC or hit points if the SDC is less than 12.
That's with a success.
That's with a success, yeah. Failing to roll with the impact means the character has used up one of his actions or attacks. See, you waffling here. And still takes full damage from the attack. Roll with punch, fall, impact counts as one melee action or attack. So
what I find funny about this is the fact that I downloaded his dumb style guide. So I know what it says in it.
Using it. Yeah, I know, right? Not even using it. Still download it. Okay, so the big thing with roll with punch, fall, impact, if it is not sharp, you can probably roll with punch, fall, impact. If the thing that hit you is not sharp. An arrow, no. A sword, no. An axe, no.
Most of my groups didn't even allow it for like maces and flails, just because even though it says it there, I mean, those weapons are coming with such force, it's not you're not going to get away from it like that. But they used it just for hand-to-hand combat or subdual type weapons where,
or like explosions or
yeah, definitely explosions. Yes.
Explosions, yeah.
Did I sound like Rain Man there?
But the reading of the rule is if it does bludgeoning damage or an explosion, you can roll with it. If it does piercing or slashing damage, you can't.
Sorry. I wish I could control that.
Yep.
What I'd like to do is we've got these 4 steps here. Do you have a D20 and a D6 available?
I have a D10, but I can just go behind the screen. Right here.
What? That's not a wall? How dare you not have that on your wall? So real quickly here, it doesn't like the cool guys. Aw, somebody just called us cool.
Wow.
I'm going to cry. You don't know us, apparently. So what we'll do real quickly is we'll pretend like we have knives. We're just going to do one action, one attack, one counter attack, and just kind of roll through it so you can kind of see how this works in a very, very, very simplistic format. I think he is going to get the biggest D20 he can find or something. I don't know.
No, I'm not. I'm just
to his car.
No, I'm fine. Okay.
All right. So D20 and D6. The D6 will be for damage. Roll initiative. Okay. I got a 4.
I got a 1. No, I got 20. Yeah.
Go from a 1 to a 20.
No, the reason because the D20 I picked up was
it's got a logo on it.
Dice, and
okay, it's got a logo on it.
I had to look on the opposite side to make sure it was a 20.
All right, well, you get to go first then, sir. Go ahead. We're gonna make the modifiers nice and easy because the game typically comes with modifiers. We'll just do +3 for both of us to call it a day. Across the board. Hit to strike, dodge, parry is +3. So go ahead and roll your attack roll. Oh, and armor ratings for both of us are 12.
12. Okay. All right. So I'm going to use my knife and just shiv the hell out of you. That's my job. 8.
Oh, okay. So, good news is you got an 8, so you hit. Because it's a 5 or higher. You didn't hit me though. You hit my armor because it was under the armor rating of 12.
But you can. I did hit, so it means you can elect to parry.
Yep.
If you want. If you
I am going to elect that. Okay. I'm going to elect my parry because I have armor. I can actually maybe do this.
Yeah, and you have to roll a 5.
I got it. Oh no! You're right. I have to. Oh, thank God! I got a 6 total. I rolled a 3.
There you go. Yeah, you successfully parried my attack.
Wait, didn't you get an 8?
No, I got a 5. And
5 total. Okay.
The bonus in my head. Yeah.
Okay. I gotcha. If you got an 8
total.
No, I didn't. I got a.
Everyone gets +3 across the board.
Yeah. I rolled a 3 plus my 3 bonus is a 6.
Oh, then nope, you did not.
Yeah, I didn't even parry. He stabbed me with a knife. I was like, whoosh.
That weak sauce thing. So
he still only hit my armor.
Your armor takes 2 damage.
2. Okay, so off my armor took 2 damage, but I didn't get hurt because he didn't beat the armor rating. Sorry for making that confusing there. I probably should have been a little clearer. Now I get to counterattack. And a 17 plus 3, 20. Not natural.
Wow. All right. Well, I want to try. And you know what? I'm going to dodge. No.
Okay.
No.
Dodge takes an action.
That is dumb. It costs an action. I'm going to parry that.
Okay.
That skillful attack. See if I can do it. Nope. 13.
Okay, so I actually damage him and not his armor for 1 point of damage.
Okay. It was not a critical strike. It was not a death blow of any kind, which means that damage goes to my SDC.
SDC, yep.
So I took 1 SDC damage. Now remember, in Palladium, there's SDC, which is superficial damage, and then there's hit points, which is critical damage, and you could die from it. I have taken a cut. It is not life-threatening, but it was skillfully done, I must admit.
So that is in its most simplest form. That is Palladium combat right there. So, sorry for a little bit of confusion up front there. But
Darth says I'm cheating because this die is not made for actual rolling. It's made to keep count of life total. So technically, I was cheating.
Well, guess what? The numbers that he got, he can keep cheating.
Yeah. It's not great.
So we just did this part right here, and then next round it says everybody rolls initiative again. Some of you guys don't like that. Heathen Dog doesn't like that. I do.
Yep.
And then now let's talk about some of these terms.
The terms. Now we've already talked about armor rating or AR. This is what the roll you have to make with modifiers to successfully bypass someone's armor and do damage directly to them. If you equal or less this AR rating in your attack, you hit them, but the armor absorbs all the damage until the armor is gone. Now, what I want to see is if it says that if an armor, say, has 6 damage left in it, 6 SDC, structural damage capacity, and you get 8 damage done to you, hits your armor, does your armor take that last hit completely, or does 2 damage get through?
Not for SDC.
Not for SDC. Okay.
Only MDC. MDC strikes if you've got 3 MDC armor remaining and you take 15 points of damage. All that 3 soaks up the entire 15, and the pilot is still alive. For SDC, it transfers.
But he's got a hole in. He's now looking at air. He's no longer in armor. Yeah. All right. Good. Any roll above the AR will penetrate the armor and directly damage person. Great. Natural AR. This is the difference between regular AR and natural AR. Natural armor rating are highly magical things in Palladium Fantasy, like supernatural beings, demons, dragons,
or turtle shells,
golems. Their armor is their whole skin, right? Whole skin. The armor is treated differently here. These living creatures have a natural armor rating. Any roll to strike below the creature's natural armor rating does no damage. Arrows and spears bounce off harmlessly, stabbing swords skitter across armor plates, blah, blah, blah. Only rolling a number higher than the creature's AR will actually do any damage at all. Now, the thing is that since this is the creature's actual skin, any damage done to the armor is damage done to the creature. So is it that different? A little bit, but it's still thematically the same. You're not doing any damage to the creature unless you beat the AR.
It's just it doesn't go away.
With natural armor and regular armor. The only problem is that regular armor has an SDC rating. Natural armor does not. It has infinite SDC because it is magically superpowered.
Or it's a turtle shell. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have an AR of 16 or 12 or 14, depending on how many points you put into it. Different game, I know.
There you go.
Different play to me. A couple questions in here about rolling impact. Are we going to cover every combat for every game? Probably not. The main big difference is going to be when we get into a modern game is we're going to focus on the ranged combat. Vice here, we're focusing on this combat. We'll go over it still. We will go over the chapters because you might watch everything, but somebody else later may only care about, I'm going to play Heroes Unlimited, so let me learn how to play Heroes Unlimited. So we will go into it to some degree, but not this in depth.
Right.
So hopefully that makes sense to people.
It does.
Legion Myth Max takes note here from frustrated Palladium user. Rewrite your game so AR is different than natural AR. Call them NAR. I don't want to tell you how I'm rewriting mine because I don't want to tell you how I'm rewriting mine in that regard because you might be right, you might not be right, or I may have gone a completely different route. In fact, actually, Heathen Dog, if he would have read it, would know the answer to that question.
Yes, but I still wouldn't say.
But you make a very good point because I think it is kind of a nonsensical. But at the same time, do you whittle down a turtle shell? I mean, remember, somebody posted. I think it was Indigo Dragon. Somebody posted earlier. This combat is meant to be cinematic, not perfectly realistic. That's one of the things that I've had to contend with as I'm doing kind of my rewrite, my own version of this system, is that I have to keep it cinematic. And I can't tell you how many pages I've probably written where I've been like, no, that's getting too far into the weeds. Stop it. Keep it simple. So,
okay. Speaking of keeping it simple, now we have all kinds of weird stuff like backflip. Yeah. The backflip involves throwing oneself backward with the arms and shoulders, flipping the legs completely up, over, and back down to the ground in a standing position. Thank you for describing every step of a backflip. I think we got it from the name. The result is that one quickly moves backward by a full body length. Doing a backflip counts as one action and can be used as a dodge or for entertainment. So, if you have a backflip, you can use it to dodge and gain space from your opponent by a full body length. Your body length, because you're the guy flipping. Your body length. However tall you are, that's how far you move back from your attacker.
It has a pretty severe drawback, though.
Yes, if used in place of a dodge, the character must roll higher than his opponent's strike, only using a natural die roll. No bonuses allowed. Failure to beat the strike means taking full damage without a chance to roll with punch.
Because you're already rolling.
Avoiding the attack like a dodge. So, most of the time, it is not going to be sensible to use this instead of a dodge. Because a dodge is more likely to work. And you can, even when you fail it, you can still roll with punch. If you fail on the backflip, not only do you get hit, but you can't mitigate that damage. The only bonus is that you're also distancing you from your opponent. And if your mage friend is ready to cast a fireball, it's going to blow up the entire area. That may be important. Getting distance away from the target of that fireball might come up. So it is something that's not used a lot, but is very situational, along with body block tackle. This is a combination of moves that involves a body block and a knockdown attack. It counts as 2 attacks. So when you do this, you spend 2 actions. A successful body block strike does 1d4 damage plus the physical strength damage bonus, and the opponent is likely to be knocked down. A successful strike always inflicts damage from shoulder, elbow, tucked head, whatever, unless the opponent dodges. No damage and no knockdown. But the victim who is hit can avoid being knocked down only by trying to maintain his balance. Roll percentile dice. Characters with no special balancing abilities must roll above 80% or be knocked down. Now,
okay, this is where he changed his own system, and I don't like that.
Okay, that's fine. But I'm just trying to tell people how it works.
Yep.
So, you're using 2 attacks. And the main thing is to knock someone down, because this does less damage than a normal attack. It does a D4 plus PS, when just our little weak sauce knives does a D6 plus PS. And it, like I said, it uses up 2 attacks. So double the attacks for almost half the damage. That sounds stupid. No, what you want is the knockdown. Yep. The knockdown is key here, and I'll tell you why. Being knocked down causes the struck character to lose initiative and 1 attack action for that round. Plus, he is knocked 1d6 feet away from where he was standing at the moment of the attack.
This is where you can get people to cry about it. Like, okay. I lost an action.
Yeah, lost an action. They're also lost initiative. A roll with impact can reduce damage by half, but counts as 1 action. Again, you just have to use another one. That is important. Knocking down is a momentum changer in this game. All right. They lose initiative. They lose an action.
Just for this round.
Just for this round. But if you're in a team, it gives the rest of your teammates the opportunity to get stuff done, to make moves happen. All right. So if you're part of a team and the fighter goes in there with the body block, boom, knocks the bad guy down, the entire team's attacks are now more valuable for the rest of the round. Everyone's attacks are more valuable because this guy is not only going last, everyone else is going first, and this guy is -1 attack.
And it's much more difficult. I don't, again, you're going to say this house rule, it's not in the book. You're probably right, but it's much more difficult to avoid being attacked when you're on the ground. When you're on the ground, it doesn't matter how much flailing you're doing, you're easier to be hit, at least randomly, by sticks and guns.
I don't know that is in the rule. We will find out.
I don't think so. I haven't seen it yet if it is, but...
And stop talking about it. Combat bonuses. All appropriate bonuses available to the character are added to the various fighting abilities. We've already done this, right? I mean, everything is not natural roll. It is modified roll, which means add your bonuses, take away your minuses, add what you rolled. That's your result. Critical strike. A powerful special or nerve shattering, ouch, strike that inflicts double the usual amount of damage. Critical strike damage can be inflicted with bare hands or with a weapon. Now, what I don't like about this isn't the first time we've been, no, this is the first time critical strike was defined, and it doesn't tell me how to get one.
Yeah, actually, since it is defining it here,
it really should tell me that that's a natural 20.
It's probably in another portion of the book. I know we did actually talk about it a little bit earlier, but but since this is the actual definition, combat terms and moves, even if it was described earlier, it should be described.
It should be defined here. Yeah, death blow. This one is bad. A special attack designed to kill an opponent in 1 or 2 strikes. This attack is often limited to hand-to-hand combat or the roll of a natural strike number, i.e. death blow on a natural 19 or 20. That comes in a line later with hand-to-hand combat skills. As you gain level, you gain special abilities like a death blow on natural 20, death blow on natural 19 or 20. Whenever the words death blow are presented without limitation, the character can use a death strike whenever he desires. However, such a devastating attack counts as 2 attacks and or actions. Against humans and SDC creatures, the attack does double the normal damage plus PS bonuses directed to hit points. Bypasses your SDC, your personal SDC. Bypasses it completely. Goes directly to hit points. That's dangerous because you don't get a lot of hit points. A 1 solid attack can kill you dead. A death blow against supernatural creatures and creatures of magic. Attack does double normal damage plus PS bonuses and is so devastating to the creature's body that it cannot bioregenerate injury from a death blow for 1d4 hours. This attack is not applicable against animated dead, zombies, mummies, golems, living statues, or similar creatures because they don't naturally heal. Because they're dead.
I'm gonna find something. Okay, we're gonna stop for a moment because I'm gonna find something. Okay. Where was it that we saw? Didn't we see the critical strike up here? Critical strikes do double damage. Critical strikes like a natural 20 and jump attack do triple damage. Okay, we have it here.
Combined critical strikes, yes.
Right, yeah. But it says like a natural 20, so that the assumption is already that's a critical strike. And by the way, I'm going to be addressing this to a commenter in chat in just a moment. So it's already there. As somebody who writes technical manuals, I don't care that it's in the hand-to-hand section. I should have one-stop shop to find everything I need to find about it. That should have been defined right here in the section that is called combat terms and moves. So, well, it's not a big deal for me because I've played the game and I understand this. It's for somebody new coming into the game, shouldn't have to look at the hand-to-hand. Now, the hand-to-hand skills can change this. Critical strike on 19 to 20, critical strike on 18 to 20. But it should say here a natural 20 and modified by hand-to-hand skills or something to that point. I shouldn't have to. Should never have to look in 2 or 3 or 5 locations to understand one rule. Yes, it's a lot of redundancy, but that is actually how real tech manuals are written. And I'm not saying that this book is bad, but it is one of the complaints about Palladium that we hear all the time is like, my God, it's so hard to figure out the game because I can't find all the rules or rules here. It's not there. I have to get a source book for another rule.
It's put together poorly.
Yeah. And that's just how you can fix that. So
the rules aren't bad. They're just written poorly.
Yeah.
And then it goes off to show you the normal damages for things like a backhand strike, a body rip, a human fist punch, a karate punch.
I hate this chart.
Power punch. What?
I hate this chart. What? I hate it because nobody's ever going to do a regular punch if you can do a karate punch.
Well, if you do a karate strike punch, you have to be trained in hand-to-hand combat.
Sure. But once you have that, you're never, I mean, you just may as well cross this off. It's just add it to the hand-to-hand skill and call it a day.
All right, fine.
Like, elbow forearm. So just, for example, my rewrite gets rid of this entire thing. And when you get the bonus, a forearm is the same as a punch, is the same as an eye gouge. Is the same. It's like if you're using your hands or your arms, it's a punch. And because I just know, one, it's for simplicity's sake, that people are going to do that. And I'm not trying to promote mine because I haven't written mine. It won't be done for probably like 18 years. But my point is like, it's unnecessary because every time I've seen this in games, why would I do a human fist when I can just backhand strike every single time? Fair. As somebody who's trained in leopard fist, I get what you mean, what the person's saying. So,
all right. And then it gets into special attacks like power kick, power
This is an
punch.
important one.
It does double damage, but it takes 2 of your attacks.
Yes.
And then another special attack, disarm. It's simply getting rid of your opponent's weapon. It does no damage, but it takes away their weapon. It can be used as an effective move in place of a dodge or parry, or can be done as an attack strike. Oh, wow. You can disarm as a dodge or a parry. Or you can preemptively disarm someone. That's what I'm reading here.
Well, there are 2 forms. There's a disarm attack and there's a disarm defense, which is the entangle defense, but he calls it disarm here.
Awesome. The disarm move is a strike, hold, or grappling maneuver that causes the opponent to drop his weapon or whatever he's holding. The maneuver counts as 1 melee attack or action. Disarm does not give the weapon to the character making the disarm move. True, the item is forced out of the victim's grasp, but is either knocked away or falls to the ground. You don't automatically get to take someone's gun like
Jackie Chan,
super martial artists can, right?
Let me clarify, because I know somebody's being all anal in chat, so it's going to come up like, no, disarm isn't the same as entangle, but there is a disarm defense and there's a disarm attack, especially when you start looking at the other games, the Heroes Unlimited and the Rift's Ultimate book. It starts getting into that, and they're pretty much just combined.
And here's the entangle. Defender can attempt to trap the weapon or arm of an attacker. That's what entangle is. Hand-to-hand combat. Fighting skills that provide the character with attacks per melee, bonuses, techniques, and special moves. Now, this will determine whether you have a regular human punch or a karate punch. You have to be trained in karate to have a karate punch. You have to be trained in karate to have a karate kick. Until you get that training, you do regular human punch and regular human kick. So you have to burn some skills to get the proper training. We're going to get to that later in skill selection, but you have to select the appropriate hand-to-hand combat training to get the special moves. Karate kick, karate punch, special move. Hit points. Number of hit points damage you can take before you dying. Starts off with your PE, and it goes up very slowly from there. Or not at all. Is
Palladium Fantasy different than the other ones? Do you die at 0 hit points?
No. You die at negative PE hit points.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, but when you hit 0, you're in a coma.
Yeah.
And you have PE in hours to have someone heal you to 1 point to get you out of the coma, or you die. Holds. Using both hands, the attacker grab onto some part of the opponent's body, attempts to immobilize him. If the strike is successful, then the victim is helpless until release. Holds do no damage. Neither the attacker nor the victim can attack, parry, or dodge while hold is working. It's easy for the attacker to hold the victim so that some third character can attack unopposed or from the rear. So, if you successfully strike someone to hold, you don't use your bonuses to strike, you use your bonuses to hold, which will probably be less effective. But if you successfully grapple someone in a hold situation, you are both taken out of the picture as far as attacks, dodges, and parries and whatever. Neither of you can do anything. But if you've got more friends, then the guy you're holding is probably going to die because he can't dodge your other friend with the other knife, shivving him in the kidneys.
By the way, stabbing somebody with a long sword when somebody is being held like this?
Not a good idea. Go for the slash on that one. Go for the slash. Getting out of a hold requires agility. Both the victim and attacker roll a 20-sided die and add their physical prowess attribute scores. Let's read that again. Add in their physical prowess attribute scores. It doesn't say bonus. It doesn't say minus. It says the attribute score, which is just the number. Why?
It's interesting. I didn't realize that.
I'm going to call bullshit on this and say it's the modifier.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's a misprint.
Yep. I'm going to call BS on this one and say that it is the modifier. See, because the next sentence, the person doing the hold also gets to add in all his Oh shit. Nope. Also gets to add in all his bonuses to hold and from the PP attribute, if any.
Oh, wow.
So no, that is not a misprint. It's like that.
I never knew that.
Attribute, and the person holding gets the attribute bonuses as well.
I never knew that. But I mean, to be fair, I haven't played Palladium in a long time, but I never knew that. And I don't think we ever rolled it that way. I don't think it happens a lot either, but now it might happen a lot more.
But holding, while taking you out of the fight, as long as you continue the hold, with all of this, if you have a high physical prowess, This dude's not getting out. He's not getting out at all. Because not only do you get to add your PP attribute, you also get to add your PP attribute bonuses, whereas he gets to only have his PP attribute. So you could have an automatic hold situation if there's enough if you get enough bonuses. If it's not possible for him to beat your roll of 1 with your bonuses, then you just hold him and he dies.
Sitting there squirming.
Let him go. Okay, types of hold: arm hold, leg hold, body hold, neck hold. None of this does damage. It's just at this point flavor. Kick attack and flying jump kicks. Now here's where we get into some stuff. Now you have to have a certain level of hand-to-hand combat training to have these open up for you. But if you do, then you get to use them. Kick attack does 2d4 damage. Unless you have a karate kick attack, then it does 2d6. But again, the right level of combat training. Snap kick. Short, quick kick, 1d6. Blah. Roundhouse kick. This is the whole body kick. Only once per round. No other kicks can be used. It doesn't say it costs more than 1 action, but you can only use it once per round. It does 3d6 damage. That's an extra d6. Okay.
That's funny. When I was taking Kung Fu and I had to do forms, my roundhouse kick was followed up by a couple other kicks I could easily do within 15 seconds.
Well, no, you can't do another roundhouse kick. You can do other kicks, but not another roundhouse kick.
And it says no other kicks.
Oh, and no other kicks can be used. Okay, well then, you know what? Maybe at higher levels, it'll rewrite that in the hand-to-hand section. We'll find out. Wheel kick, a damaging kick that involves sweeping the leg. Oh man, sorry, Daniel-san. Cannot come right before or right after another kick. Does 2d6 damage. Doesn't say it knocks down, which sweeping the leg kind of tells me it does, but doesn't say it knocks down, so I guess it doesn't. Crescent kick, 2d4 plus 4. Axe kick, backward sweep, triple leg hook. Triple leg hook, tripping or a leg hook cannot be parried. Backward sweep does no damage, purely knockdown attack. Cannot be parried. You have to dodge these. Knockout or stun. The special attack will momentarily knock out or stun daze its opponent for its victim. For 1d4 melee rounds, usually available as an unmodified strike of 19 or 20. It can be used in place of a critical strike player's call. All right, so if you have critical strike because you rolled a 20 or you have that in your unarmed combat repertoire and you roll it, you can choose, no, I don't want to do double damage to hit points because this is just a jabroni. He mouthed off to me. I don't need to crush his skull in. You can elect. You can elect for it instead of critical to be a knockout stun. That de-escalates the bar fight and doesn't escalate it into manslaughter. Don't be a murder hobo. He's just a dick. It doesn't mean.
And the way we played this is once you declared this was always in effect. You didn't have to say it every single attack until you decided you didn't want to do this anymore. That's how we played it.
Mm-hmm. Like, I, as a game master, I don't want to accidentally make you a murder hobo. All right. I want you to want it. So when the repercussions come in, it's on you, not me. Jump kicks. Critical strike inflicting 6d6 damage, but it's performed by leaping completely off the ground and attempting to land foot first on an opponent. That's usually what a kick is. Land foot first. That's step 1. Jump kicks can be used only by those skilled in hand-to-hand martial arts. That is the
first time that's been defined.
Yes, first time that's been brought up, and it's not defined. I hate it. The advantage of a jump kick is that it works as a critical strike and doubles the normal damage inflicted. The disadvantage of a jump kick is that no other attack may be performed in that melee round. It doesn't matter. You're doing 66 critical strike. If you strike with a jump kick, the other dude is likely dead. If you're fighting a dude, a guy, a normal guy, not a dragon, not a demon, not a god. If you're fighting a guy, if you're doing 66 times 2 directly to hit points, dude's probably dead. He's probably dead. A flying jump kick. I don't know the difference. Let's find out the difference. Must be made from long range. I thought
there's
all
the
jump
difference.
kicks were made from long range. The character launches into the air, taking a position that will smash one foot into the opponent. does 46 damage but counts as 2. How does it do less damage than a regular jump kick? It's a jump kick with a modifier.
You're expending a lot more just for the jump itself, I'm guessing is what they're going. But this is where you're on the little suspension wires and you're flying, crouching, crouching tiger, hidden, crouching. God damn it! Whatever, you know the
flying jump kick,
hidden dragon, from style across the.
Okay, so a jump kick is different than a flying jump kick because a flying jump kick is done from range, from your max jumping range.
I guess you lose the momentum or something. I don't know.
I guess. But then we have a leap attack, an airborne assault where the weapon and or fists or feet are wielded in mid-leap. An attack must be made only at the beginning of the melee round, and like a jump kick, you use up all attacks for that melee round. Usually only a single strike can be made during a leap attack. However, if two opponents are close together, the attacker can leap between them and strike both at the same time. Roll to strike for each character. After the leap, the character may not attack again until the next round, but can parry or dodge or move into position. So it doesn't use all of your attacks. It just negates your actions from being used as attacks. You can still parry, you can still dodge.
Chat's wrong about something.
About what?
Chat says, so a weird guy says, I hear that Kevin Simbito wanted to add hand-to-hand Samuel L. Jackson, but it was too OP to add. No, Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris.
And Chuck Norris. That's right. Too OP. Magic attacks. Most men in Magic get 2 spell attacks per melee round. A spellcaster actively engaged in hand-to-hand combat, parrying, dodging, and taking damage cannot focus enough to cast a spell. There is a 90% chance that the spellcaster will lose his concentration if struck a painful blow, preventing the casting of a spell. Here's another thing I hate. What's a painful blow? A blow that causes any damage, or a blow that causes a certain percentage damage? A blow that causes a threshold of damage?
SDC versus hit points?
Yeah, there you go. SDC is superficial damage.
I believe in rulings, not rules, so that doesn't bother me. I actually like the fact that it's left for interpretation. However, that doesn't meet like the rest of how the book is written. The rest of the book is pretty clear in this is what happens in win, as long as you find it in the rule book somewhere. So yeah, leaving that open is one of those things that should be. This goes back to the technical writing thing. Sure, this was written like 1983 or whatever the hell it was. I get it. But this is one thing where it should say there's a 1 in 90% chance likelihood. I'm trying to keep most of his words that the spellcaster will lose his concentration if takes 1 or more hit points of damage, or if takes 1 or more STC of damage, or whatever. There should be something blatantly spelled out as a game condition, and not just like
takes damage to either HP or STC equal to or greater than their physical endurance.
It's fine however you want to run it. Again,
but just saying a painful blow doesn't tell me anything. This is the rules section, asshat. Give me a rule. Jesus. Maintain balance. When some kind of knockdown attack has succeeded, the character is starting to fall over. Now remember, there are special skills, and there are
gymnastics, acrobatics.
Yeah. Like I said, so special skills and hand-to-hand combat powers through leveling that you get that can augment your balance roll or give you a new balance roll altogether. But if you do not have training or do not have a skill that gives you its own balance roll, you have an 80% chance of falling down. You have to roll an 81 or higher to stay on your feet. Well, if you want to maintain balance.
So,
but if you have the acrobatic skill, then you use that. It has a balance roll embedded in there. And I believe there's even a tightrope roping skill somewhere that gives you another balance roll. It's super.
Yeah, I thought that was embedded though. I thought that was. I can't remember.
It supersedes your 80% failure rate.
Right. So let's
how would I run it?
Yep.
I would run it as hit point damage. I would say hit point damage is painful and substantial enough to make the concentration of a trained spellcaster break.
I'm the same way. Honestly, I'm the same way on that one. I don't like that it's 90% though. I think that's pretty high. I would rather make a saving throw, which we'll talk about in a moment here. But again, going by the rules of the game, I would do exactly what Heathen Dog said as well.
Yep. All right. Melee action, melee attack. We got that. Multiple attackers. There will be times when a character is besieged by more than one opponent. Unfortunately, he can only attack one at a time and may decide to elect to divide the number of his attacks per melee between attackers or concentrate on only one. That's fine. A lone defender can parry all attacks that are within his line of vision. If an opponent slips far to one side or behind him, the defender cannot parry the strike because he is concentrating on the assailants in front of him, and he can't see it. Now, again, there are skills and or combat abilities gotten through hand-to-hand combat training and levels that can allow you to defend against attacks from the flank or from behind. You get that with experience and training, but initially you don't.
Yeah, there's like some sort of, it's not a whirlwind attack, but there is some sort of like circular attack, if I remember correctly, in one of the hand-to-hand skills, probably martial arts.
It is. In ninjas and super spies, they have the whirlwind parry, where you can parry all attacks from front, behind, anything, because you're doing like a breakdancing move or whatever, and you're flailing your hands and fists in all directions, and no one can get an attack in. It happens. No hand-to-hand combat skill. Characters with no combat training get only one attack per melee at levels 1, 6, and 12.
Well, that's even worse than the Heroes Unlimited book.
Yeah, Hero you're born with 2. Yeah, in Heroes Unlimited, you're born with 2. But in Palladium Fantasy, you're born with 1. You get another one at level 6 and another one at level 12 if you're untrained. Any attempt to dodge counts as an action. We've already established that. That doesn't need to be said here. Likewise, this character does not get an automatic parry. That needs to be said. Any attempt to parry counts as a melee attack or action. This has already been said before, but it's good to reiterate it here.
Yeah, repetition is not a problem as long as
not a problem. Yeah. The player must announce whether his character is attempting to parry or dodge. No announcement means no parry dodge is made. Okay. To prevent the loss of an attack, the non-fighter must hold his ground, taking any damage from the attack and then strike back. Any bonuses to strike or parry are from what few weapon skills or PP bonuses the character may have. You don't get any hand-to-hand combat strike bonuses. Just if you're training the weapon or if you're just naturally a nimble sucker, that's all you get. That plus your roll. Paired weapons. Again, I believe this is a skill, right? Paired weapon skill. Or this is also a reward for high levels of some type of hand-to-hand combat?
Yeah, both. It's a weapon proficiency, and I think martial arts gets it around like 7 or 9 or some crap like that.
Yeah, this allows you to have to use two weapons simultaneously. Certain kinds of weapons, such as sais, nunchuck, knives, clubs, and swords, can be used as paired weapons. Users of paired weapons can strike and parry simultaneously, can do twin strikes against a single target or against a pair of targets, or can parry 2 different opponents at the same time. In other words, warriors skilled in paired weapons often can do 2 actions for every one of their melee attacks. Strike and parry.
That's different than the other books, because the other books, wow. Okay, never mind. We'll get into that when we get to those books, but I'm kind of surprised by this rule.
Yeah, this is very powerful. However, a twin simultaneous strike with both weapons means losing the automatic parry and leaves the character open to the opponent's next attack without the benefit of a parry. You can still dodge, you can still parry, it's just you have no more automatic parry because you've fully committed to the attack for that round.
You're leaning in.
Yeah, you leaned into hands. It. Yep.
Or whatever. It's hard to pretend, hard to pantomime that when I have a microphone right here.
There you go. Penalties. Some types of magic, poison attacks, curses, poison, psionic attacks, curses, poison, drugs, illness, fatigue will affect the character with penalties. These are negative modifiers, 2 minuses to strike, parry, dodge, damage, etc.
Yeah, it's the opposite of bonus. I think we got that. These are your modifiers that can turn you from always going to hit to possibility of failure. But pull punch, we already talked about that. Saving throws, haven't talked about this. Occasionally, characters must roll to save against exotic attacks like poison, gas, disease, magic, cures, curses, psionics, etc. The following are the minimum or base saving throws needed in each category. Coma or death. See coma and hit points. Actually, see your PE attribute. Harmful drugs or toxins. Base of 15 or better. This is on a D20. You're rolling a D20. This was not specified. You are rolling a D20 and you have to equal this or higher.
This is the base. So if you have a really high PE, your resistance against magic and poison is going to be better than the base.
And I don't remember anything giving you other than your PE. I don't remember. And there's one other attribute for like the magic stuff. I think it's ME. But I don't remember anything like per level bonus or whatever. If I remember correctly, these things they're static like this.
Yep.
Unless the OCC gives you something.
Yeah, the OCC probably gives you bonuses as you go up, and certain skills probably could. But we will find that out later. Base magic spell is 12 or higher to save. Magic circles 13 or higher. Protections are 16 to 20, depending on the protection spell. Rituals are 16 or better because they're much more lethal.
They're lethal. People are spending days and hours putting those things together. You got all the cult members, draining their own blood into each other.
Yeah, sacrificing their little sisters because she's a virgin. No, there you go. There it is. Psionics. If you're a non-psionic, you got to roll 15 or better. Minor or major, 12 or better. If you're a master psionic, your base is 10.
So I have a problem with the way this is written, being, the whole technical thing. Again, changing what he wrote as minimally as possible, not doing it the way I would do it, but still, it should be 15 or better versus non-psionic, 12 or better versus major. I'm sorry, I said that backward already.
Yep.
This has caused arguments in groups in the past. Like, what do you mean? I'm a non-psionic, so why is my role worse? And it doesn't make any sense for a 10 or better. For me to be a problem with this. For me to be a master psionic, it should never be. No, if I'm a master psionic, I shouldn't be rolling a 10. I know that's not how it works, but that's the.
I don't understand your problem with it.
I just have a problem with the way it's written. It should be so 10 or better. If somebody's using master psionics against you,
no, that's not how this reads. That's not how this reads.
If you're saying that a master psionic rolls a 10 or better, but a non-psionic rolls a 15 or better, that's fucking backwards.
No, it's not. It's absolutely true. If you are non-psionic, your base saving throw is 15. 15 or better.
That's bullshit.
Nope, that's absolutely true.
That might be, but that's a bullshit rule.
It is not.
You have no defense against psionics.
If you are a minor psionic, it is easier for you to save. Your base save is better because you have experience and or training in psionics.
Yeah. Okay. No. Then we are in agreement. Then we are in agreement.
Yeah.
But the
rule master psionic, your base save is 10, much easier than the non-psionic and easier than the...
Yes. But people have come to me, and this mostly happened in TMNT, and said, somebody's using master psionics against me, so I only need to roll a 10 or better. And like, no, that is not what is going on.
Yeah,
but that's how they read it.
Okay, I didn't read it that way.
Most people don't, but I've had that argument, and it turns into an argument table. And I'm sorry, I said it wrong here because I have a hard time, like Heathen Dog, I have a hard time using that logic on it, but I've actually been seen and been in those fights. So I just think this could have been written better. You just clear it up.
It could have been written more clearly. I agree. Yeah. I've never taken it the way that your hypothetical situation. I've never seen
it happened at our table.
I don't remember.
Did you play in my TMNT game?
Yeah.
It happened at our table, if you remember. Really? Chicken Guy. Yeah.
I don't remember. Okay, simultaneous attacks. Combatants can parry or dodge each other's attacks, or they can forfeit any type of defensive maneuver and strike back simultaneously. The advantage of a simultaneous attack is that while opening oneself up to damage, it deprives one's opponent from parrying or dodging the counterstrike. Okay, this is good. This is a really good tactic if you have a lot of SDC, a lot of hit points, are strong, and you love playing the aggressor. Because what does the real big strong guy hate to fight? The little nimble jackass.
Because you can never hit him.
Jumping around, bouncing around, friggin' Yoda-ing his way all the way around, jumping off stuff, flipping in the air. No. Nullify that crap. Let the little guy get damage on you, but not let him dodge your attack. Because you know that your damage is going to be more significant. Your damage is going to be greater. You will go for the simultaneous attack. You will take that little tiny stab to get the giant bash. Good plan. Sneak attack or attack from behind. No initiative roll for the first melee round. If the person doesn't know you're there, you don't roll initiative because you can't do anything but go first.
Now there's something very important here. Melee round.
Yes.
That's
round.
multiple Actions.
Yes, the whole round, you go first. You get to use up all your actions or save them. Do whatever you want, but you get to choose first. It's up to you. You are immune to initiative for the first round, which means you just get to go. Victim stands totally unaware and does not even get a parry for the first strike. If the opponent survives the first strike, he can gather his wits and strike back and or parry in the next strike, but still lacks initiative. That means he gets to go when you run out of actions or tell him he can. Remember, you didn't roll initiative.
Right.
That means you are above the Lord. You get to go take all of your attacks or just one, save the rest for parry and dodge if you want. Nobody cares. Take them all. Make sure that guy is dead. Do it. And hope you win, because if not, then you're in trouble. STC values. These are examples of the structural damage capacity of common items.
Yeah.
So an arrow, 3 STC. Crate, 30 for a small one. Regular door. Exterior door, 170.
So I do things a little differently with this.
Okay, we don't care. We're talking about
give them, no. We're having a discussion. This is a live stream, not a tutorial. I actually add an armor rating for these,
right,
so you can hide behind the door, because I don't think that a wooden door stops a bullet.
Well, we don't have bullets in this game, so you're absolutely right. But it will stop an arrow. It will stop a bolt.
I've seen bolts go through doors.
Well,
modern archery, but
I think in interior wooden door and exterior wooden door.
Sure.
In a modern game, the interior wooden door is basically cardboard, because interior wooden doors are hollow. They're very, very thin, and they're crappy. They're going to have like 10 STC.
So a lot of them are portcullises anyway in a game like this. Chat pretty much agrees with our assessment. I'll say your assessment in this one, because I was the one making the other point. But I will tell you, this is what the argument was, though. The argument was that because I'm not a psychic, I'm not as susceptible to it. Okay, and I thought that was I agree. But it was that's why I'm surprised that you don't remember this, because it was a pretty big fight, and I remember Garthon getting all screechy about that as well. Like he on our side. But the guy just, he didn't like it. Lastly, there was one other comment. Somebody said that simultaneous attacks are abused to the extent that they ruined it from their game, or they took it from their games, which I can understand. That I don't ever remember even running into it. That's not a new rule for me. I knew it was there, but I've really not seen it used much. Have you?
Well, I haven't played a lot of characters in Palladium that would benefit from a simultaneous. I usually run the nimble jackasses that are jumping around, or spellcasters who don't want to get into hand-to-hand range,
sure,
or psionics or whatever. I'm usually
you also do rifts too. You don't do a lot of Palladium Fantasy.
Not playing the brute, but gotcha. If you are the brute and you are fighting anyone who's also not a brute, then you want to do simultaneous attack, because it is only upside for you. You have more SDC, you do more damage, you can take the hit, make them take the hit, and they will be the worse off for it. But personally, I've played, psionics, mages, archers, distance attackers, stuff like that, who don't want to get close anyway. So it's never been a good rule for me. Now, here we go.
I want a 1D. I want a 6 SDC hat. It's got more SDC than me.
All you got to do is make your hat out of tweed.
Oh, there you go.
Get a tweed hat. You got 6 SDC.
All right. Now we get hand-to-hand. Or is there something you want to talk about first?
These are the hand-to-hand skills. Basic, expert, martial arts, assassin. Those are your skills. Now, each Palladium game has them cost a varying amount, but it's usually one skill choice for basic, 2 skill choice for expert, 3 skill choices for either martial arts or assassin if you are evil. You cannot take assassin unless you're evil.
I didn't realize. I thought that was universal. I didn't realize that there were different costs for that. I thought it was always 1, 2, 3.
No, in Ninjas and Super Spies is different. In Heroes Unlimited, it's a little different. But in most Palladium games, it goes like that.
Okay.
All right. So if you are trained in hand-to-hand combat, even basic, you start getting special abilities as you level up. Now, this is, I want to verify, I want to just really, really Burn this in. It is not your character's level. Level 1 starts when you get the skill, just like every other skill. So if you spend the first 4 levels of your life having no hand-to-hand combat whatsoever, and then at level 5 you get hand-to-hand basic, you have a hand-to-hand basic level 1. That means you start at level 1. Go up from there. If you had hand-to-hand basic, and at level 5 you spend an extra skill you got to upgrade it to expert, you are now level 1 expert.
One of the things that's different about this one than I think Heroes Unlimited is this one is very blatant. Starts with 2 attacks per round.
Yep.
You don't start with 4 like yeah.
Nope. If you have no skill whatsoever, you start with 1. Hand-to-hand basic, you start with 2. And you get a +2 to roll with punch, fall, impact, and a +2 to pull punch. At level 2, you get a +2 to parry and dodge. At level 3, you get the karate style kick. Hey, look at that. Karate style kick. Karate kick. You don't get a +1 to strike until level 5. You don't get an extra attack until level 4. Well, let's see what hand-to-hand expert does. Still start with 2.
Real quickly, martial arts, paired weapons, level 7.
Yep. Yeah, you get it level 7. There you go. Hand-to-hand expert is level 1, same as hand-to-hand basic. +2 rolled punch fall, +2 pull punch. But at level 2, you get +3 to parry and dodge. At level 3, you get a +2 to strike, and at level 4, you get an additional attack. That is earlier and in a different order and greater. But you don't get the karate style kick attack until level 5. With basic, you got it at level 3. Let's look at martial arts. You still start with 2 attacks, but it's a +3 to roll with punch fall and pull punch. In level 2, you get +3 to parry and dodge, +2 to strike, and the disarm ability. At level 3, you get the kick attacks, everything except jump attack, or the jump kick, any 4 of choice except jump kicks. Level 4, you get an additional attack. At level 5, all jump kicks. At level 6, you get a critical strike on an unmodified 18, 19, or 20. This is no joke. This is a killing blow. This will kill your average person.
Think so?
Yes. You do double damage directly to hit points. Regular dude's going to die.
Wait, no, critical isn't directly to hit points. Death blow is directly to hit points.
Critical strike bypasses SDC. Hang on. Critical
No,
strike.
it's just double damage.
Just double damage? Okay, it'll still kill a jabroni.
Oh, okay. Especially in first edition when you didn't have to worry about SDC.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Double the usual amount of damage. Okay. Yeah. It'll still kill a jabroni because jabronis don't have a lot of SDC. So hand-to-hand martial arts is great. Hand-to-hand assassin. Now you start with 1 attack per melee round. That's a huge detriment. And this thing costs 3 skill slots. Holy
yeah,
crap.
okay.
Why? Because
gain 1 level. That's why.
Yeah. Starts with 1 attack per melee round and +2 to strike. Nobody else starts with pluses to strike at level 1. You do. Your attack is more valuable. You get 2 more attacks at level 2. That's 3 total now. Now you're breaking the bank on this one. You're winning. You're winning in attacks per round. You're meant as an assassin, especially at first level, you don't just want to go first. You want to make sure that the other guy doesn't go. So you get 1 attack, you make it count. You sneaky bastard. You get behind him. Sneak attack. Stab. And they die. If you stab and they didn't die, you're not a very good assassin. You deserve it. There you go.
But the assassin does lack in one thing.
What's that?
Defenses.
Yes. You got a lot of stuff. A lot of kick attacks, knockout stun, critical strike, death blow on a natural 20 if desired.
And I think generally 1 higher attack than everybody else.
Yes. More attacks than anybody else. Pluses to strike, quite good. But you only get a +3 to parry and dodge and body flip throw at level 6. I don't see any other parry and dodge bonuses anywhere in that entire stack. Whereas in hand-to-hand martial arts, I see 1 and again, additional 1 at 12, +2 more to parry and dodge. So that's a total of 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's total +5. and the assassin only gets a total of +3 throughout his entire career. So yeah, you want to end it quick.
All right, psychic combat. Now we're going to talk more about magic and psionics, not next week, but the week after probably. But since it is part of the combat, we will quickly talk about that and horror factor. And I think we're done. Well, we'll also look over the weapon proficiencies.
Yes.
We won't read all of them, but we'll look them over because it's part of combat.
Yeah. We'll give a hand-to-hand, a ranged, and other.
And then we'll have a giveaway.
All right, psychic combat. Reminder, most player characters start off with 2 attacks per 15-second melee round. Additionally, attacks may be acquired as one advances in hand-to-hand combat, as we've already seen. The average person not trained in combat will only have 1 attack. Experienced fighters will have an average of 3 to 6 per melee, sometimes more. Okay, that's great. But if you are psionic, you can only, how many?
I think
each psychic attack counts as one of your character's physical attacks.
Because if I remember correctly, magic was 2 per round and psychics was action.
Yep, psionics is the however many actions.
So I remember all the mages crying about that.
Yes, even though magic is stronger than psionics, but
debatable.
Level per level it is.
I just don't like psionics. You know that. So in any game.
And it goes over the saving throws again. Non-psychics must roll a 15 or higher to save. Minor and major psychics must roll a 12 or higher to save. These are your base. If you have a high,
now here's where it reads it right.
Yes,
and I wish we would have had this book with when we could have ended that discussion quick, fast, in a hurry.
Yep. And that's it. And it talks about inner strength points, which we will talk about in the psionics and magic portion of this thing. And then we get into horror factor. All supernatural creatures, dragons, and most monsters have a horror factor. This may be more like an awe factor when it comes to gods. It depends if they want to strike horror or strike awe in you, usually, unless they are grotesque and awful, and they always strike horror. Like Cthulhu-esque old ones, will always strike horror. Whenever a human or a mortal encounters one of these monstrosities, the character must roll a 20-sided die to see whether or not he or she is momentarily stunned by the sheer horror of the thing. Mm-hmm. This horror factor might be thought of as a saving throw or mental parry. Unfortunately, the character only needs to roll for the first melee round of each encounter, not every melee of combat. Okay, right when you see it.
Yep. Right? I think you should have to roll a horror factor against something like that.
Yeah. Unless you spent your entire life fighting those things, then it's over. You're done with that. But it's a D20, and the base roll depends on the creature. The more scary the creature is, the higher the target number is going to be. Let's see. For example, a slobbering creature with a horror factor of 10 emerges from a crypt. All characters who see it must roll to save against horror. In this case, success is a save of 10 or higher. Everybody but poor Tom rolls above a 10. Tom rolls a 6. So Tom is momentarily stunned with horror. Now, this is a 10 or higher.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, it depends on the creature, but yeah.
Yeah. A failed roll means character is so overwhelmed that he or she is temporarily stunned. In game terms, this means the character loses initiative, doesn't even roll. You are beyond initiative the wrong way. You just go last. All of your shit, last. But nope, last. But what? Nope, no buts, last. Loses 1 attack or melee action and cannot defend himself, no parry dodge, against the creature's first attack of that round.
It's like being surprised.
Yeah. Fortunately, the character snaps out of the shock stupor quickly and can join the combat that same melee. But let's say it again, folks. You go last. By the second round, character has completely recovered his senses and is functioning as a normal. Roll for initiative and combat as usual. So, if you fail your horror factor, it's worse than getting body flip throwed. It's kind of the same. You lose initiative, you go last, you lose an action, but you also cannot defend the first attack on you of that creature. You cannot parry. You cannot dodge. You take it like a little girl. Nope. I'm rolling that back. It was going to be really offensive. I'm rolling that back. You take it like a chump. You just chump block for your team. Good job.
For
And
Omen, he says he thinks it should be modified based on level, so high level characters are not terrified by weak creatures. I'm torn on that one. I think I generally agree with that. But at the same time, I don't think that just because you're high level means that you're necessarily a grizzled veteran. I mean, but I get the point. Yeah.
yeah, you're high level from fighting human warriors in combat on the field of battle, and now you're fighting a dragon. It's a whole different thing.
Right,
Your
but he
experiences
specifically
have
said
not
weak
prepared you for
characters.
this.
He said weak, not terrified by weak creatures. And like I said, I get that. I would just get to the point where it's like if you're level 12 and you're going against something that you sure might be in mass, but it's still pretty weak, I just wouldn't have you roll. Or especially if it's something that you've encountered before and you're prepared to fight it, I just wouldn't have you roll.
And notice in here it says nothing about any bonuses. Like a horror factor bonus should be your mental endurance
I think it is.
modifier. Doesn't say anything about that in this whole thing.
Fair. All right,
Just
real
says you
quickly,
must roll a
let's
20-sided die. Doesn't give you any bonuses or minuses or anything.
we're going to cover a lot of these skills next week. Not going to read them all off to you, but we're going to talk about how to use some of the we'll say the harder ones. Like, why do we have a skill of breed dogs? Why is that important in a game, a role-playing game, to have the skill of breed dogs? We'll talk about that next week. But we do have weapon proficiency. Oh, I wanted to actually complain about this hand-to-hand chart for a second. God dang it.
Okay.
One of the things that, again, I'm mixing and matching here because I don't remember which ones I'm looking at, but it's mostly the Heroes Unlimited second edition and the Rifts Ultimate. I can't remember which one it was, but one of these had this set up really well for these hand-to-hand, where it said under like this section right here, it says, note the basic moves, initial strike, parry, tangle, dodge, body block, tackle, roll, punch, impact are automatic to all hand-to-hand training. Then underneath that, it says, and all characters can punch at 1d4 and kick at 1d6. It talked about all the things that you can do as a brand new character right here in this spot.
Yeah.
This one doesn't. That's annoying.
Okay, sorry.
Like, what's my punch damage? It says kick attacks. I can do kick attacks. Great. Oh, hey, karate style kick does 2d4. What's my kick? Yes, I know it's up here. There it is. Right here under damage. But I think that
you would
it
like
should
it
be
in several places at once. I know that's fine, and that's valid. Charlotte, horror factor is not an insanity mechanic because there is no long-term problem with it. It
right.
only affects you for that first round, and then you snap out of it. And then
there's actual insanity in this game. So
yeah, there's actual insanity, and that's worse. That's far, far worse than a horror factor roll. Far worse. Okay, so we're at weapon proficiencies. We're gonna talk about a couple. We're gonna talk about archery, and then we're gonna talk about sword.
Sword. Yeah, sword. It's just easy.
And shield. Those are the three I think are important to have the different mechanics.
I agree.
So note about weapon proficiencies, WPs. Each WP provides combat training in a particular type of weapon. The result is hand-to-hand combat bonuses to strike and parry whenever that particular weapon is used. All bonuses are accumulative. Each weapon proficiency counts as one skill. The character may select several weapon proficiencies or a few. Note, characters without a weapon proficiency can use weapon, but without the benefit of the weapon proficiency bonus. Now, it's important to say that you don't get a minus. You just don't get the perks.
Right.
Anyone could pick up a sword and swing it. But if you want to swing it well, you get the weapon proficiency bonus. That's it.
And this is one of those times when the cinematic effect of the game kicks in, because I think everybody knows that if you're trained in kendo or you're trained in fencing, you're probably just going to whoop up on somebody who doesn't have a skill. That's just. But this game, it isn't quite so simple. You could be an untrained schmuck with a high PP, but for the strike and do fairly well. But the caveat to that is, the trained person is probably going to have more attacks per round than you.
Yeah, more attacks per round, be able to defend, and attack at the same time, whereas you can't. Right. Stuff like that. Okay, let's look at archery. An expertise with the bow and arrow. No kidding. Training includes the use of all types of short bows and crossbows. Note, the longbow is exclusive to the longbowmen and ranger OCCs. Skilled archers who are not longbowmen can use the weapon but find it awkward. All bonuses to strike are at half, and the rate of fire is equal to the archer's normal hand-to-hand attacks per melee. No bonus shots. This is to make, you know, longbowmen and rangers special, shiny, whatever.
It's
Whatever.
like every other fantasy game ever, it doesn't understand what a longbow is. Rangers should never use a longbow.
Archery bonus. Add 20 feet to the normal effective range per level of the character. +1 to parry with that weapon, effective at level 1. +1 to strike at levels 2,
Parries with
4,
his
6,
bow.
8. What?
Who parries with his
people
bow?
parry with a bow. I've seen movie and TV characters parry with a bow.
Fair. Okay. Yep. You win. You win.
There you go. Archery movement penalty. The character loses all bonuses and rate of fire is half when running and shooting, flying, when riding on horseback, or from a moving vehicle or otherwise unbalanced. Okay. Rate of fire, 2 at level 1, +1 at levels 2, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 12. So at level 12, man, you're shooting 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 arrows. Pew, pew, pew. Pew, 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 pew. That's crazy. Does not include weapon proficiency bonus for range. Okay.
No,
this
they
is
did not fight with a longbow. That is not how a longbow fires. A longbow takes watch a real British archer use a longbow. None of those are longbows. And Heathen Dog died.
No, I didn't die at sneeze. All right. So that is your archery. Okay, that's your archery. And then we're going to move
some damages here.
Well, ranges and damages. 1d6, 2d6, 2d4. You know, crossbow, pistol, bolt, crossbow, stuff like that. It depends on you know, what era you're doing. Let me find where's sword weapon proficiency.
Oh, Charlotte Williams. This is a great game. I'm gonna put that. Yes. Look, I feel like I'm nitpicking a bunch of things here, but it's only because we played it for so long. It's that love nitpicking. I love this game. You can't go wrong with it. It doesn't mean other games are bad, but if I'm going to play an older type game, if somebody right now, if I had time and somebody I knew and trusted was going to say, look, I'm going to run a Palladium Fantasy game, I'd be in.
Can you find sword, please?
Isn't it like there's blade, that's knives.
Blade. Weapon, knife. What page is that? I can't find it at all.
Well, blade, but it isn't.
Oh, blade. There it is. Yeah, weapon for
sword
knife.
Right here,
okay.
60. 860.
Okay.
Right at the bottom. It's the last entry.
Oh, that is paired weapons.
PDF 60, actual book 60. Oh, sorry, actual book 60, PDF 61.
Oh, I see it. Okay, sword. Okay. Combat skills with large and small swords, including fencing type training. Includes rapiers, sabers, broadswords. Okay. Obviously, these are radically different styles. You don't use a rapier the same as you use a halberd or a broadsword. Doesn't work like that. But for simplicity's sake, for cinematic simplicity's sake, they're just all swords. All right. Yep. Calm down. It's okay. I feel you.
But my realisms.
Shut up. All right. Bonuses. +1 to strike at levels 1, 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. +1 to parry at 2, 4, 7, 10, and 13. +1 to strike when thrown.
I don't remember seeing this before.
That is important. That is important for your cinematic godliness. All right. That is important for someone with a claymore to just burst through a door and go, oh, and just throw it and have it just pierce somebody and pin them to the opposite wall. That's cool, man. I like that too. Is it something you should do? No. Is this something you can do and look cool? Yeah.
If you have another one, because a lot of claymore attacks are actually done from the top of a hill, and as soon as they swung down, they're like,
a claymore was really meant to be used once, and then you get another weapon, you know, because no one wants to pick that thing back up. All right, so that's your sword, and then we go to shield. Shield is different. It's above sword.
Is it above sword? Okay.
Yeah. Combat skills with a large and small shields used primarily for parrying and self-defense. Bonuses. +1 to parry at levels 1, 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. A shield can be used in one hand and a weapon in the other. This is like having paired weapons, but one of them is a designated parry weapon. A shield can be used in one hand, a weapon in the other. +1 to strike with a shield at levels 4, 8, and 12. No bonus to strike when thrown. Oh, I can't make a Captain America clone. Shucks. All right. Shields.
Well, you can in Heroes Unlimited.
Yes, you can. And this gives the different kinds of shields, damage to shields. So this is optional. Shields can be broken, but the rule is optional because shields are made to be struck. A weapon is not made to be struck. Your face is not made to be struck.
Shields break in combat all the time. That's why you carry 2 or 3 of them, or you have your squire carry 2 or 3 of them.
There you go. Yeah. But if you don't want to deal with that, you don't have to. It's optional. But if you do deal with it, you subtract 10% of the damage that would normally be inflicted by a weapon when blocked or parried by a shield. When all SDC is gone, the shield has too many holes, cracks, and weaknesses to offer protection. The next strike will punch right through it or shatter it and hit the user at full force and full damage. That means you subtract 10% of the damage that would normally be inflicted by a weapon when blocked, parried, whatever, by the shield. So if let's just make it easy, 10 damage. The attack was blocked by a shield, it does 10 damage. Subtract 10% of that damage. That becomes what, 9?
Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't listening to your numbers. I was reading chat.
Start at 10. Subtract 10% of damage that would normally be inflicted by a weapon when blocked, parried by a shield. When all SDC is gone, the shield has too many holes. Now, I'm having trouble reading that. I'm having trouble understanding exactly what's going on. Does he mean subtract 10% of the damage that would normally be inflicted by the weapon when blocked, parried by a shield? It doesn't say what is applied to the shield.
1/10 of the damage. Oh, subtract 10% of the damage that would normally be inflicted. Okay, subtract 10% of the damage that would normally be inflicted by a weapon when blocked or parried by a shield. I'm guessing that 10% goes to the shield, like directly as damage to the shield.
But it could also be read as you take away 10% and then you apply 90 to the shield.
Yeah, I wouldn't do 90. Me personally, I wouldn't do 90 because that would make the shield break in one hit.
Well, yeah.
Well, no, that's not true. We got 60 SDC up here.
Yeah. So it depends on the severity of the hit.
This is why part of me likes this. No, I mean that in all seriousness. Part of me really likes this because I personally believe in rulings, not rules. I want my ruling to be different than Heathen Dog's ruling, and we all have fun at our own table. But for a book like this, the way it's written, as we've been describing it so forth, no, it needs to be defined better and in actual game context, not in narrative context like this is.
Right. Darth Thiek, this is how I read it as well. The shield takes 90% of the damage.
And then 10% goes to the ether?
Yeah, 10% is actually blocked.
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, now I don't use this at all. It's an optional rule that I don't use. The only way to break a shield is to specifically call an attack on the shield. And then you do damage directly to the shield. But you sacrifice all damage to the person holding the shield. You are striking the shield, not the person. That's the only way to do damage to a shield in my game because damage to shield I don't use.
Fair.
Yeah.
And it's optional rule. And I think that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, that's going to be it.
We got some ranges here. Wilderness survival. Okay. Yeah, that is it. Next week is going to be OCCs and skills. So we'll probably pick 1 or 2 OCCs to go over, but we'll probably pick like a... Oh, crap. We shouldn't do a magic one.
A magic one and We're
going to talk about magic the week later.
Thiefy, jumpy, roguey guy.
Thief for sure, fighter for sure, ish, and then we'll talk about if we want to do a magic or psychic one or wait until we actually do magic and psychic the next week. Okay. So we'll figure that out. And we'll talk about some of these skills. We'll pick a couple skills on here that either look funny or might not make sense and try to make sense of them, or that like this horsemanship. I mean, you're talking a fantasy game. That's probably important, but why? So, anyway, there's a chat here I want to get to. Okay. Can you put up the subscribe thing while I'm doing that?
Sure can.
Because somebody asked a comment or made a question or posted something. I don't know what the hell it was.